Good afternoon, folks, and we have a beautiful day. It's like 60 degrees out here, but the wind is blowing pretty significantly, and I'm in the back of this cove. This is one of my favorite places on the lake. It's super beautiful. Got this little rock shelf. So Finley and I, Finley's got a little pillow or a little puppy bed back there. She's chilling. She's got her sweater off, but she's hot. I think I'm gonna take it off in a little bit. But I noticed something the other day at my house. It's coming out in the evening, and there was a big old crawfish on our front porch, and of course Finley wanted to sniff it, but we had to keep her away from the big old crawfish. It was probably like I don't know, like a 5-6 inch crawfish, kind of greenish. The very next day at work, a buddy of mine was walking across the parking lot with another big old crawfish, same length and same color. So the crawfish are definitely out, and that's kind of what we're going to do today. We're going to put on some red baits and some jig, and we got, I'll show you what I got here. Just got the red rattle trap. Got a red 3XD. Over here we've got the red bladed jig. This is just a 1/2 ounce Z-Man Elite with a Hawgz Custom Bait trailer on there. Of course we got a swim jig, spinnerbait, and several other things. I do have an Ozark rig there with a little crawl on there. And you know, I will throw the little jig head minnow if the situation arises, because that's one of the best ways to catch fish right now and probably throughout the year. Something I've been playing around with. But I'll also be throwing this guy, black and blue with a little green pumpkin chunk, and I will break out a green pumpkin here in a little bit, but we're gonna play around with that, see if we can get some bites. So let's get after it. Let's see if the old crawfish pattern pays off. Got us one. Fish. Snatched his one. This is kind of blind casting, folks. Little jig head minnow. Good fish. That's a good fish. They all good, man. They all good. Come here, buddy. All right. Look at there, man. Just throwing that little jig head minnow. Wasn't even looking at him. Was just casting down here in the wind. It's a fun technique. I mean, it's so finessey that if there's fish in the area they're feeding, they're probably going to hit it. Good times, man. That's fun. Just a little 1/4 ounce head. This is that Gambler FFS minnow. It's a 4-inch. And a little tater shad head, 1/4 ounce. I like this. I think a lot of things I like about this head, but one is it's got that sickle hook. And I'm telling you, man, that sickle hook, when you pin them, they stay. I mean, that fish jumped several times. I caught some pretty big stripers on it. I have not lost one once I've got the hook in them. And I like that big eyeball. I think that eyeball, they don't like it. They don't like that eyeball looking at them. Jig fish. We'll take him right up there in that grass. Love's all slimy. There we go. Just throwing that little 1/2 ounce Cumberland Pro. Just fishing a little point here. It's kind of a spot where they should be on. I don't know. Right outside a spawning flap. There we go. Little guy on the trap. Come here, Buster. Right in the eyeball. Right in the eyeball. The wind's brutal. Fish on the minnow. It's fun. what, man, they do not come off once you get them hooked. I'll say that, now I'm probably gonna lose the next 10. There you go. Got me one. Trap fishing. Got it kind of good. There we go. It counts. It counts. There he is. There he is. The front hook. That's what you want to see. Get a few bites on the old trap. Little guy. Catching some little guys. Little guy way back here in the middle of nowhere on that jig. Man, it's like when you get her around one, they hit it. Or they get it good at least. Oh, that's a good one. Dang it, got off. He was just holding it. Decent fish. Holding this little pocket here with some rock. Just trying to find places where there's not so much slime on the grass. It's ridiculous. You can't even hardly fish anywhere. Just so much slime. Super annoying. Moving baits, especially dragging baits. I mean, it is tough. It's that time of year, man. Everything just gets kind of slimy. Trying to find some clean grass. I got a couple ideas on some places that might have some harder bottom, and that's what we're doing now. Just pulled back in this little cut. We've had 2 bites really quick with this jig, so I'm gonna finish up fishing this little stretch, and then we're gonna go try to find another stretch like this. Water temperature report. We got 52.2 whatever degrees on the Garmin, and usually the Lowrance is a couple degrees warmer, so somewhere between 53 and 54.5, something like that. And you know, the water is where I'm at right now, it's kind of stained. It looks really good. It's about 2.5 foot of visibility, so I'm throwing that black and blue jig, but I did see some spots where, you know, it's 5 foot of visibility, and I'm sure if you went back in some of these creeks you would see a foot of visibility. So just a range of water clarity today, but bluebird skies, full sunshine, and it's like 61, 62 degrees. It's lovely. They're definitely on this little stretch. It's like 3 bites in 5 minutes. Makes me think that there might be more in here the way that fish swam off with it. And a lot of times when a fish really takes off with a bait, there's multiple fish down there, and they're grabbing it and trying to get it away from his other buddies. So sometimes that's a sign that you can get another bite. There we go. Definitely some fish holding on this bank. Small fish, but we're getting our line tight. I don't know if these bigger ones are out just a little bit deeper. They're just not on the stretch yet. That fish ate it. There's a better fish. Get up in here. There we go. There we go. Fish tried to pull that rod out of my dang hand. Look at that. The fish wanted it. That was a cool bite. Man, that's like I don't know, man, 4th or 5th fish I've caught along this stretch. Had a couple bites. They're definitely on this stretch. That's a little bit better fish. He's bleeding a little bit. I got him in the tongue, so we're gonna let him go. Then get him back in the water. That fish ate it. Hopefully he'll be fine. Something about that tongue, man. You hook them in the tongue. I don't know exactly the biology behind it, but if you hook one in the tongue, you put it in your live well in a tournament or something. I got blood all over my bag. He won't survive most of the time. I mean, you can throw some Sprite in there on his little tongue, give him a little shot of Coke, but is that a bite? Is it a bite? Oh, it was a bite, and I missed him. So one thing about fishing these rocky areas that are really snaggy, the shorter the cast you can make, the better off you are because of the angle. If you have a steeper angle, which is what happens in a shorter cast, you're not pulling it so much into the rocks, you're pulling it over. If you're making a longer cast, you're gonna get hung up. And a lot of times you're just actually not, the hook's not in the rock, it's the line sliding through the rock. So instead of really pulling on it, just keep going in close to it and just kind of shake it and pop it a little bit. Don't pull real hard. Usually if you get close to it on the other side of it, you can work it off just like that. Now if I would have really pulled hard, I would have wedged the line, this part, because what's going on is, you know, you got rocks that are sitting kind of like this and your line's like this, and you're just wedging that jig. So if you really pull, you're really wedging it, and then you can't take your auto Trieve and get down to it if you can't get it out, because it's in here. It's basically, you're not going to get it out. It's not like a piece of wood where it's, you know, actually the hook point's in it. It's usually the line is wedged in there. So 2 things to do: you can shorter cast to steepen your line angle, and then if you do get hung up, go in close to it and just kind of short little soft pops. All right, folks, I'll show you what I'm throwing here. You know, we caught some fish on a trap earlier and the little jig head minnow, but I've been trying to throw this jig. I've been keeping this jig in my hand a little bit more, and this is a 1/2 ounce black and blue Cumberland Pro Lures Pro Caster. They just came out with a 1/2 ounce model. Really nice compact jig. I've trimmed it down. You know, it's, when it comes out of the pack, the skirt's about down there, but I trimmed it up, you know, to where the skirt's just a little bit longer than the bin, and I like to kind of scatter cut it. I don't like a straight cut. You see how it looks kind of irregular? It just gives it more of a buggy look. I don't know if it matters, but it gives me more confidence. It doesn't, everything in nature is a little bit, you know, slightly variegated, so I think that adds to it. But this little jig has got a unique head design. It's a casting jig, and they've upgraded the wires on it. So this is something, if you got a lot of rock in your lake, really, really, really good jig to throw around rock. It rivals the football jig for sure. It's got a flat spot on the bottom there. You know, the bottom's flat, so it does skip pretty good. It's just got a unique head design. It comes through wood too. They've upgraded the wires a little bit, and it comes through wood. I've been flipping it around wood a bunch today and had absolutely no problems. It's got a nice solid hook, super sharp. I believe it's a mustad. I want to say it's a 4-aught, maybe 3 to 4-aught. I think it's a 3-aught actually, but it's perfect, man. You could throw it on braid if you wanted to, but fluorocarbon, no problem at all. We got this is a Berkeley power bait. This is the Maxcent. It's a meaty chunk. Green pumpkin party, I believe. And you know, why am I putting a green pumpkin trailer on a black and blue jig? Well, it's something I do a lot. It just gives it a lot of contrast, and it's a little bit different. You know, there's nothing wrong with throwing a black and blue on there for sure. It's been proven over the years, but I like to mix it up. know, a lot of times I'll take a green pumpkin jig and I'll put a June bug on there just to spice it up a little bit. But this chunk I like to thread it on. This jig has a nice keeper there. But what I'm doing is, instead of hanging it off, I think when you hang it off, these legs will come around and get caught in the hook point and cause you to miss a lot of fish. You can put a little section of worm on there just to keep it back, but a lot of times I'll just actually thread it down there. It's a little bit tricky. Nice thing about these wires is you can't just get them out of the way. You don't have to deal with like a fiber weed guard. But I'm just running it through and coming out right there like that. There's a little fat part of the chunk, so we're just coming out just like that, and then I'm just sliding it up onto that keeper and just kind of squeezing it really tight. I've been throwing it on, this is the Virtus Jewel Red Diamond Ranger. It's a sweet rod. 7'3", heavy, fast, very sensitive. Got the wind grip on it. Got a Daiwa Tatula. This is the CT, and we're throwing it on 15-pound test, just fluorocarbon. So anyway, I'm working down this bank and we're starting to get a few bites, starting to put a little bit of a jig pattern together, and it is fun. Get up in here. Saw some fish swimming around out there, couldn't help it. Oh, jig minnow's the deal, man. It's fun. Line is tight. It's all right. Sucker's still trying to swim. There's definitely some fish pulled up on this rock, which is cool. It's fun. A lot of times you come through these little stretches and no bueno, but not today, man. We're getting some bites on this old jig. We're still hunting for old big. It's a beautiful day. We are not working. So life is good. That's what we came for on the old jig. Look at that, good solid fish. The sun's probably in your eyes. Nice, man. I was running down through here and I thought, it looks good over there. I'm gonna pull over there and make the cast, first cast. Bam. That's good stuff. Good stuff. My chestie's out. I'm getting ready to change the battery, but gosh, you know, best fish of the day so far, and the chestie wasn't working. But it's a nice one. You go, Finn, what do you think about that? It's a nice fish, ain't it, Finn? You like that? Get you some of that fish loaf, let it go. That was fun, man. That was fun. That's a good quality fish. Yeah, get on out here, baby. You can see that stain, man. That is perfect. It's like 3.5 foot. Beautiful. Little jig fish. This little jig has been pretty good. Give a thumbs up if you appreciate the content, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna wrap it up, man. Sorry about the chest cam. I don't know what the deal is. It just keeps shutting down on me, so I'm gonna have to go out on like this. you know, this was the star of the show. Got some lipless bites, a little bit of jig minnow bite, but this guy right here, little Cumberland Pro 3/8 ounce Pro caster with a little meaty chunk. Kept the line tight. Until next time. Crappie. Big old crappie. Man, it's a big old crappie. Found us a school of crappie here, right at dark. It was fun.